Welcome, have a nice day. Today is Wednesday, 2nd of October 2024. This day is famous for the internationally as the International Day of Non-Violence. It is observed on 2nd October to mark the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, who had played an important role in India's independence. In Indian history, it is a Gandhi Jayanti. It is a national holiday in India celebrated annually on 2nd October to honor the birth of Mahatma Gandhi, one of the key leaders of the Indian independence movement and a pioneer of the philosophy and strategy of the non-violence. It is one of the three national holidays in India. Starting the newspaper, the Hindu states that China reneged on border agreements with India. Mr. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, gestures during a conversion with a carnage endowment as President Marino Florinto. Cellulose in Washington, D.C. on October 1st, 2024. Beijing had violently agreed agreements it had with New Delhi about how to keep the border between the two countries tranquil, says External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. Tensions between India and China would continue as long as there was a formal deployment of the troops. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. India is currently preparing to continue with the forward deployment of its soldiers for the fifth winter. The overall relationship with China had not been great over the last few years because China had reneged on certain agreements it had with India about how to keep the borders between the two countries tranquil. Mr. Jaishankar said during the discussion at the Carnage Endowment of the International Peace CEIP in Washington on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Those agreements were violated by China in 2020, the ministry said. Referring to clashes between Chinese and Indian soldiers in that year on the line of actual control. 20 Indian soldiers had died as per the official count, so both the countries had moved thousands of troops to the line of actual control after the clash. Now, what is about the nature of the India-China conflict that defies resolution with a bilateral trade worth $65 billion. India and Russia have reportedly witnessed the increasing levels of rupee ruble payments to settle their balances and work around US and G7 sanctions that had impacted businesses with Russia since it invaded Ukraine in February 2022. India and Iran had previously settled payments in rupees and Iranian rials, but the system had shut down for all practical purposes following India's stopping import of Iranian oil owing to the United States sanctions. Iranians celebrate on status after the IRGC attack on Israel. Iran fires missile at Israel, warns against retaliation. Iran fired a salvo of ballistic missiles at Israel on Tuesday in retaliation for the Israel's campaign against the Tehran Hezbollah allies in Lebanon. Alarms sounded across the Israel and the explosions could be heard in Jerusalem and the Jordan River Valley after the Israeli piled into the bomb shelter. Reporters on the state television lay flat on the ground during the live broadcast. Iran has vowed to retaliate following attacks that killed the top leaders of the Hezbollah allies in Lebanon. The firing of the missile came after Israel said its troops had launched ground raids into the Lebanon, though it described the forays as limited. According to the Hindustan News, states that many stable Pakistan's Army Chief flags incorrect narratives. Army Chief General Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi on Tuesday said the situation in Manipur was stable but tense, while cautioning against the wrong narratives that were being spread and the pressing need to control them as a step towards the restoring normalcy in the northeastern state that has been in the throes of the ethnic clashes between the majority Meitei and tribal Kuki communities since May 3rd last year. There is a polarization between the communities. The situation is unstable today, but it is tense, he said, in the context of the Manipur becoming a battle of the narratives. The false narratives include the use of bomb drones and infiltration by 900 foreign militants from Myanmar, the army chief said. out here. But we are looking at it as that we should not allow wrong narratives to be built up. For example, there was this narrative of bomb drones. We went and checked, and there were no bomb drones. The false narrative was that 900 anti-national elements had infiltrated. We checked, and there is nothing like that. If we can control that, I think things will be all right. General TVD said. He was speaking at the Chanakya Defense Dialogue 2024 organized by the Indian Army in the collaboration with the think tank Center for the Land Warfare Studies. On the false narratives, the Army chief said trouble began in May 2023 after rumors were spread about the burning of town of the Anglo-Kuki War centenary kit. India front discusses a Rafale marine jets, Scorpion submarines. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval also called on French President Emmanuel Macron and conveyed Prime Minister Modi's greetings. New Delhi, India plans to acquire Rafale marine combat jets and additional Scorpion submarine as well as the Ukraine conflict figure in National Security Advisor Ajit Doval's talks with the top French officials in Paris. Doval is in Paris, France by the bilateral strategic dialogue with the Emmanuel Bonnet, the French president diplomatic advisor. He also met French Armed Forces Minister Sebastien Lecornu and President Emmanuel Macron. The Indian embassy in Paris said in a post on X that the dialogue between the Doval and Lecornu aimed at deepening bilateral defense cooperation and the advanced space collaboration, but do not give details. They also share insights on the evolving international geopolitical landscape, the embassy said. Antony Blinken meets S. Jaishankar, says India-United States working to address a global challenge. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar during a meeting with the United States Secretary of Antony Blinken in Washington, D.C. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday and said India and the United States are working together to address the regional and the global challenges. S. Jaishankar is on his first visit to the since Prime Minister Narendra Modi assumed power for the third time at the center. Together, the United States and India are working to address the regional and global challenges. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and I met to discuss our continued cooperation on climate crisis and ways we can promote regional security and prosperity. Antony Blinken after the meeting recognized United States' unique position in the multipolar world, seek closer ties. Jaishankar and Antony Blinken also noted Modi's visit to Ukraine in August and reiterated the importance of just and lasting peace for Ukraine. United States Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said, commenting on the warmth between the Modi and Biden, Blinken said it reflects the value that the two countries attach to their bilateral ties and growing cooperation in strategically crucial sectors such as space, semiconductor, and clean energy. Going to the economy of the country from the business point of view, internship portal to be launched on October 3rd. That is tomorrow. Top 500 companies can tie up with the others in supply chain candidate selection. Throw a bag pots companies to then scrutinize and pick portal live from October 12th. Candidates having studied in from IIT, IIM, IISER, or having CACMA among the others as a qualification won't be eligible for the scheme. The government, in partnership with the India INC, will be rolling out the budget announcement of the one-year internship scheme for youth aged between 21 and 24 years on October 3rd. The portal to apply for the internship directly with the country's top 500 companies will be launched on October 3rd, beginning first with the uploading of available internship positions by the companies and then subsequently to be made active for candidates to apply, sources said. India initiated a dumping probe on 6 products imported from China. India has already imposed an anti-dumping duty on several products to tackle cheap imports from various countries, including China. India has initiated a probe into illegal dumping as many as 6 products, including certain chemicals and cold-rolled electrical steel and black or toner powder cartridge imported from China, following separate complaints from the domestic players. Anti-dumping probes are conducted by countries to determine whether domestic industries have been hurt because of a surge in cheap imports. Central reconstitutes a monetary policy committee ahead of the Reserve Bank of India rate review. Under the flexible inflation targeting regime, the RBI has to be maintained CPI in the 2 to 6% range. It has been targeting to bring inflation down to 4% on a durable basis. The MPC fixes a benchmark interest rate or the base of reference or the base or reference rate that is used to set other interest rates in India. Going to the world news, including VP candidate Vance and Walz meet in a final scheduled debate for 2024 US campaign. Iran-Israel attack highlights Iran launched missile barrage against Israel, escalates Middle East tensions. 120 accusers allege sexual misconduct against CNDD, a Combs lawyer revealed. World leaders condemn Iranian missile strikes on Israel. Calls for the escalation. United States President Joe Biden orders American military to shoot down Iranian missile targeting Israel. United States condemns Iran's missile attack on Israel in terms of it defeated and ineffective. Iran's President Pezeshkian warns in Israel after missile attack. Supreme leaders hope uprising front will become stronger. IDF says will respond powerfully tonight after Iran launched waves of missiles on Israel. Huge missile barrage over the Jerusalem's old city. 4 killed, 7 wounded in the shooting attack in Israel's Jaffa. 2 shooters neutralized. United States warns of an imminent Iranian missile attack on Israel, and Netanyahu asks citizens to heed IDF's instructions. Indian troops with UNIFIL along the Israel-Lebanon border to stay despite rising tensions. Control Science and Tech, Indian Space Research Organization targets to launch Venus mission in March 2028 for 112-day journey to planet. India's maiden mission to Venus, which is scheduled for launch in the March 2028, will embark on the 112-day journey to reach the planet. The 1,236 crore Venus orbit mission (VOM) was recently approved by the Union Cabinet. The mission will be launched off by the LVM-3 launch vehicle Mark 3, and ISRO said 19 payloads will be on board Venus orbiter mission. India's maiden mission to Venus, which is scheduled for the launch in March 2028, will embark on a 212-day journey to reach the planet. The Rupees 1,236 crore Venus orbiter mission was recently approved by the Union Cabinet and Indian Space Research Organization on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, revealed the targeted launch window for the mission. According to the targeted launch window for the VOM, the Earth departure date is scheduled on March 29, 2028, and the arrival on the Venus is July 19, 2028. VOM will be launched by the launch vehicle Mark LVM-3. LVM-3 has been identified as the candidate launch vehicle, which will place the spacecraft in an elliptical parking orbit (EPO) of 170 km into 36,000 km, 21.5 degrees inclination, and argument of the PDH or AOP of 178 degrees. Minimum energy requirement expressed in the incremental velocity for the launch opportunity that exists in 2028 for the placing spacecraft in an elliptical orbit of 500 into 60,000 kilometers around the Venus, ISRO said. Hyderabad reported 496 dengue cases in September. DMHO Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad TWP Commissioner Dr. Ajay Kumar along with the Hyderabad DMHO Venkat and Osmania General Hospital Superintendent Dr. Kesh Sahe on Tuesday, October 1st. Hyderabad reported 496 cases of dengue in September 2024, lower than the 920 cases recorded in the same month in 2023 and 1,222 cases in 2022. According to Hyderabad District Medical and Health Officer DMHO Dr. J. Venkat, speaking to the media on Tuesday at the DMHO highlighted the decline, attributing it to proactive measures taken by Health Department. Typically, dengue cases peak in September due to the rains and increased vector activity, but this year we have seen a downtrend. said Mr. Venkat. He explained that most cases were concentrated in Secunderabad, Murshidabad, and Malakpet areas of the city where mosquito-borne activity was particularly high. The health department responded with regular fogging and the spraying in these areas, which may have contributed to the reduction in cases, he said. At last, there's a famous quotation by M.K. Gandhi, whose biography explains like this, whose full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Birth anniversary today, 2nd October 1869, up to 30th of January 1948, was an Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and a political ethicist who employed non-violent resistance to lead the successful campaign of India's independence from the British rule. He inspired movements for the civil rights and freedom across the world. The honorific Mahatma, Sanskrit great soul venerable, first applied to him South Africa in the 1914, is now used throughout the world. Assuming leadership of the Indian National Congress in 1921, Gandhi led nationwide campaigns for easing poverty, expanding women's rights, building a religious and ethnic amity, enduring untouchability, and above all, achieving Swaraj or self-rule. Gandhi adopted a short dhoti woman with hand-spun yarn as a marker of identification with India's rural poor. He began to live in a self-sufficient residential community, to eat simple food and undertake long fasts as a means of both introspection and a political protest. Bringing anti-colonial nationalism to the common Indians, Gandhi led to them and challenging the British-imposed salt tax with a 400-kilometer to 50-mile Dandi Salt March in 1930. And in calling for the British to quiet India in 1942, he was imprisoned many times and for many years in both South Africa and India. Gandhi's vision of an independent India based on the religious pluralism was challenged in the early 1940s by Muslim nationalism, which demanded a separate homeland for Muslims within British India. In August 1947, Britain granted independence, but the British Indian Empire was partitioned into two dominions, a Hindu majority India and the Muslim majority Pakistan. As many displaced Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs made their way to their new lands, religious violence broke out, especially in the Punjab, Bengal, and abstaining from the official celebration of the independence. Gandhi visited the affected areas, attempting to alleviate distress. In the months following, he undertook several hunger strikes to stop the religious violence. The last of these was begun in Delhi on January 12, 1948. When Gandhi was 78, the belief of that Gandhi had been so resolute in his defense for both Pakistan and Indian Muslims. Spread among some Hindus in India, among these was Nathuram Godse, a militant Hindu nationalist from Pune, Western India, who assassinated Gandhi by firing 3 bullets into his chest at an interfaith prayer meeting in Delhi on 30th January 1948. Gandhi's birthday, 2nd October, is commemorated in India as a Gandhi Jayanti, a national holiday, and worldwide as an International Day of Non-Violence. Gandhi is considered to be the father of the nation in the post-colonial India during the Indian nationalist movement, and in several decades immediately after. He was also commonly called Babu, Gujarati endearment, or father, or roughly Papa Daddy. Mr. Gandhi says a famous quotation. He says that strength does not come from the physical capacity, it comes from an indomitable will. Okay, thank you.